I've been dreading this for a long time. To be honest, this moment doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel any less unreal than it did a year ago. I don't even need to put all of this in the title of the video because y'all know what I'm talking about. It's for someone like me who prides themselves on having the right words in a situation, someone who has always had an affinity for writing and public speaking, and there are all sorts of creative veins that I wish to pursue in my life where I could potentially do stuff like this for a living, writing and speaking. It's always been a joy and a pleasure, and frankly, an obligation of mine to do that. So I've always prided myself on knowing the right thing to say. But this is one of the rare instances where I don't think my words could suffice. But I'm gonna try. It's the Mamba mentality in me, I guess. So, I may as well tell a story. Story time. I remember exactly where I was when I got the news. I was actually playing basketball. Had my Kobe sneakers on. They're beat to hell, but I used them anyway. And I actually had Kobe fresh in my mind at the time because my friend Matt and I rolled up to the park to play a game of horse, and he was in his car grabbing some stuff. I was already on the court shooting, warming up. I actually tried, my plumpy ass tried to attack the basket for a reverse layup, specifically trying to emulate one that Kobe had done a few times. And there were two specific examples that I was trying to emulate. There was one in the Christmas Day game against the Knicks back in 2012, and another in his very last game in 2016 against the Jazz, where he attacked the basket from the right side and contorted his body in such a way that he reversed his body and laid it up with his right arm. And I specifically tried to emulate that. Those specific examples were ringing in my mind at the time. So I was playing the game I love because of him, and still trying to emulate him after all that time. And in the midst of our game of horse, I got the urge to check my phone. Now, worth noting at the time, I still live with my dad. And I'm on a very long leash, of course. I'm in my 20s. But, he's very protective and likes to know where I am, stuff like that, and make sure I'm okay. That's the Marlin in him, and I'm his Nemo. So I realized that I hadn't told him where I was going, and it might be a good idea just to let him know that I'm safe, right? I know I'm an adult, I'm in my 20s, but I figured it was the courteous thing to do. It doesn't have to be a parent. It could be a friend. It could be anyone close to you in your life. I mean, if they're worried about you at any point, it's good to make sure that they know that you're okay. So I got the urge to check my phone, and lo and behold, I had a text message from him saying, "Seamus, I'm very sorry to tell you, but Kobe Bryant is dead." And I just stood there in complete shock. Like, I thought it was a cruel joke. Like, I thought this was his way of getting my attention and, like, payback for not letting him know where I was going. Now, I know it seems ridiculous that, like, a 20 something year old had to worry about his parents or someone like that worrying about his whereabouts, but that's just, that's just the way I've been my entire life. Anyway, my point is that I thought it was a cruel joke intended to get my attention, my attention. And I was like, "Are you serious?" And he was like, "Yes, I'm devastated." So I didn't have Wi-Fi or mobile data or anything on my phone, so I asked Matt to Google it, and lo and behold, it was true. And I stood there for a few moments and I just looked up at the sky and I was like, this is a glitch in the Matrix. This invincible superhuman that won a championship on with a broken finger and shot those free throws on a freshly torn Achilles. There's no way someone like him could just not be in this world. It's not possible. He, he wasn't human. He was an alien. There's no way. So we finished the game of horse, specifically because I knew that's what he would do. He wouldn't let something like that stop him. He would finish the game. So we finished the game. And we spent the rest of that afternoon hanging out, looking for stuff to do. And I made a video, uploaded it, and then deleted it. It was audio only, where I tried to keep it very upbeat and tried to not let the somberness overshadow everything. I tried to keep it upbeat and I tried to highlight all of my specific favorite memories of Kobe in games. Late season game against OKC back in the lockout season where the Lakers were down by 17, and I was sitting there watching with my grandma, and I was like, there's no way they're coming back. And she was like, gotta have faith, they'll come back and win. Not only did they come back and win, they came back and tied the game on a one-legged three from Kobe to beat the shot clock. And then eventually the Lakers won in double overtime. There was Game 7 of the finals, June 17, 2010. There was the last game when he scored 60. There was, oh my God, how many games in the 2012-13 season when they were supposed to win the championship, but they were a big disappointment. The dunk against Brooklyn, the three three-pointers against Toronto to tie the game, and then the winning dunk in overtime. And even, of course, to all the iconic ones before I became a fan of basketball, the 81-point game, the 61-point game in New York, the 62 points against Dallas in three quarters when Dallas only had 61. He outscored them through three quarters. The lob to Shaq in Game 7 of the West Finals in 2000. The finals against Indiana where Shaq fouled out and Kobe stepped up in overtime to help the Lakers win. The 40-point streaks, the 50-point streaks. How many examples like that do I need to mention that I tried to focus on to keep it upbeat? But then I got home that night, and then it hit me. Damn. This superhuman, this invincible superhuman that played through the most gruesome injuries. Now, to put it in perspective, I'm crying like a little bitch-ass baby over a basketball player. So, it wouldn't be a stretch to say that something like a torn Achilles would make any normal man cry. But Kobe Bryant was not a normal man. I mean, I don't want to be repetitious, but that's all you can say. He was superhuman. And all of a sudden, he was no longer with us. And the world went to shit as soon as he died. I mean, the first confirmed COVID case happened about a month before he died. It was already underway before he died, but it seemed like it really kicked into full force after that. I'm at a crossroads in my life. I'm not sure where I want it to go. I mean, I have an idea, but it's hard to speculate on how it manifests. Of course, you'll never get anywhere in life on speculation. You have to make something of yourself, but I told myself before I turned on the camera that, I was thinking to myself, maybe this is the motivation I need to actually tackle my body image issues. It all starts with actually getting in shape and getting fit. Now, I don't need to go to a gym, especially now with COVID. I mean, there's gyms in this area that were defying the shutdown orders, and there's people in there working out without masks, which, personally, I'm too much of a bitch to work out with a mask on. But anyway, I'm thinking to myself, maybe this is the spark I need. Maybe this is the reset that I need. Actually get myself back on track. But in the meantime, I'm just watching a lot of old Kobe highlights, and I have his book, The Mamba Mentality, that my friend Mike bought me, and other there's an issue at ESPN magazine they did. There's an issue of Slam dedicated to him, so I have those, and I like to read those from time to time for inspiration and stuff like that. And I'm trying to adjust this. I'm sorry. Um, I was reading the ESPN magazine they did in tribute to him, and it was talking about the point in his life where there was the sexual assault accusations, and Shaq had left the Lakers, and pretty much everyone on the planet didn't like him. He lost his endorsement deals with Nike and Nutella and stuff. And there was a game against the Magic and Tracy McGrady where T-Mac was out playing him, and then he looked at himself at halftime and said, "You can lose your wife, you can lose all the other stuff in your life, but I'll be damned if I lose basketball, because this thing I can control." And there was another quote, I'm not sure how long after that game against the Magic that he said this, but he said, "I'm never alone. I have the game." He had basketball. So what I want to ask you guys is there anything in your life that you love as much as Kobe Bryant did with basketball? Is there anyone or anything in your life that you love a fraction as much as he loved basketball? We would all do very well to approach life with a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of the commitment and the dedication and the effort that Kobe Bryant did, not just to basketball, but to life. He won a damn Oscar after he retired from the Lakers. Sorry, guys. Kobe, if you're up there, just want you to know that your sage advice rings ever so emphatically in my mind. It's permanently ingrained. It's not going anywhere. It's important to put this up on my channel for documenting purposes, because I want this to be the benchmark. I want this to be the catalyst for actually doing stuff with my life and getting my life on track. I have a lot of things that I have planned for my channel this year that I'm excited about and passionate about, but it'll never come to fruition, and it won't do anything for me materially if I don't put in the work. And I'm making the vow to put it into work, because that's what Kobe Bryant would do. Sorry. Rest in peace, Mamba. Rest in peace, Gigi.